Hello everyone, welcome to our integral calculus class of the School of Engineering and Architecture of St. Louis University through distance learning education. I am your course facilitator, Engineer Joseph Marie S. Kitma III, and then I am popularly known in St. Louis University as Sir Jokits. This course focuses on the second branch of calculus, which is the integral calculus. You will find out that integral calculus is just the inverse operation of differential calculus. Therefore, the tools of integration or the formulas will be familiar to you, as most of them have just been derived from the differentiation formulas. Aside from learning to evaluate integrals of different functions, you will also learn how to apply the concept of integration in solving some practical applications like calculating areas, volumes, including centroids. These topics are important in studying the major courses in chemical engineering as well as in the practice of your career after graduation. Both Isaac Newton and Wilhelm Gottfried Leibniz founded calculus in 1665 until 1666. Both of them were actually university students during those times. Newton was only 23 years old and Leibniz was 20. Some accounts in history state that calculus was invented independently by both of these mathematicians during the Great Plague. So there was like a pandemic during those times wherein there must be individual isolation if possible. It is very much similar to what is happening to the world today wherein we have a pandemic called the COVID-19. So both Newton and Leibniz made something that is very brilliant and productive during quarantine time. This course will be having some learning outcomes, and the first one will be apply the concept of integrals, the methodology of properly integrating any given function to solve elementary integral calculus problems. Second, analyze and solve engineering problems related to the application of integral calculus. To ensure that you will demonstrate the above cited course learning outcome at the end of this term, this course is designed to be delivered in 72 hours and it was structured in 6 modules. Each module will be containing units with its topic learning outcomes. Each is designed using the 5E constructivist model of learning, which was developed by Roger Bybee, that encourages students to engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate their knowledge of topics that is covered. It means that at the end of each unit, each module, and the course as a whole, you will be assessed on your progress in attaining the course learning outcomes. Outcomes-based education dictates that only when you have a passing mark. The modules that form building blocks to help you attain the course learning outcomes are as follows. The first one is Module 1. This will be about fundamental integration formulas. It will be part 1. This module contains the introductory topics to integral calculus, specifically on bridging from the concept of differentiation to integration. The basic integration formulas are introduced here. Also, The first set of basic integration formulas are included in this module, and how can you use them to integrate common functions. There is a proper procedure for solving each type, and they are clearly demonstrated here. Unit 1 covers integration and the power formula, while Unit 2 will be covering trigonometric functions. Module 2 will be about, still, it's about fundamental integration formulas. It will be part 2. This module will be containing the other sets of integration formulas that you may use to integrate a given function. You need to further study the properties of a given integrand so that you can decide which among the formulas you already know is appropriate to be used. Hence, you will find the term evaluate the integral in the solved exercises. Unit 3 covers logarithmic and exponential functions, while Unit 4 will be covering transformation by trigonometric formulas and inverse trigonometric formulas. What about Module 3? Module 3 will be about some techniques of integration. In this module, you will learn the different techniques that can be done to transform a complex term to a term that is more simple to integrate. These are called techniques since they are suggested approaches that can be applied in integrating functions that involve special terms. Unit 5 will be covering integration by parts, while Unit 6 will be covering integration by substitutions. Module 4 is about the other techniques of integration, including the definite integral. In this module, you will learn another technique of evaluating the integral of complex fractions by resolving them into simpler, more easily integrable fractions. Also, the concept of the definite integral, if we say definite integral, it has limits or boundaries, will be introduced here. And then a prescribed formula will be suggested for evaluating definite integrals of common functions with specified limits. Unit 7 will be covering partial fractions, while Unit 8 will be covering definite integrals using the Wallis formula. For Module 5, this is already applications of integration. Here, you will be introduced to the applications of integral calculus in the field, particularly of engineering. In real-world scenarios, many objects, whether natural or man-made, small or huge, they come in different shapes and sizes. Integral calculus gives us a way to compute areas and volumes of objects, both regular or irregular in shape. You will find out that some common objects that we see every day are actually solids of revolutions. In Unit 9, we start with calculations of plane areas, then move on to Unit 10, where we tackle the first two methods of solving for volumes of solids of revolutions. Module 6 will be the other applications of integration. This will be covering the concept still of areas and volumes, including definite integration, wherein we need to apply them. Although there are still numerous applications of integration, the topics discussed here are the ones chosen for you to accomplish the topic learning outcomes that are identified. Unit 11 will be covering solids of revolution, and then solids of revolution will be having some methods like the cylindrical shell method, like the circular ring method, and the other methods, including the determination of the centroid of a plane area or even a solid of revolution. And then the last unit will be Unit 12 that will be covering iterated integrals. Of course, you have to be prepared before the start of the course. And what are these things that you needed to prepare so that you could at least pass the course? The first one is you needed a designated learning space. Well, you need to assign a quiet and comfortable space where you can learn the materials and do the assigned tasks or activities. Keep your things like your books, your notebooks, papers, even maybe your calculator. They all must be organized. You don't need distractions as of the moment as you are in a self-paced, independent learning mode. And that is your moment. Another thing is we needed also, of course, a notebook. Although you are in a distance learning program or in a distance learning education, having a notebook is still very effective and very useful so that you could keep a record of whatever things that you learn, whatever solutions, comments, or even questions that will come in your way. You will need this for your review also later on. Another is you also can gather some scrap papers and then you could use that in solving some of the problems, and you could keep them also as your notes or maybe part also of your notebook. The third one is, of course, you have to review and write all the differentiation formulas. These were the formulas you learn in differential calculus. This will serve as your guide to determine the appropriate integrating formula to be used. Study guide should be followed to pass this course. Study guide is like a light that we needed in the dark in our journey to pass integral calculus. From numerous educational researches that is conducted in the past, the most effective way for a student to learn is to learn by doing. Evidences have shown that achievement and retention are highest in students who are actively engaged in their own learning, such as in the case of distance learning education. To aid you through independent learning, the modules are designed so that you could accomplish the minimum intervention from me as your course facilitator. The topics are grouped into smaller units, complete with explanations, illustrations, step-by-step solutions, and interpretations to aid you in studying each part and synthesizing what you have learned. Assignments are also given at the end of each lesson or unit to check if you really learned something. To successfully finish each module, we will be following these guides. The first one is you have to study the lessons in the sequence that is presented in each material. You cannot just jump to another unit again without studying what is supposed to be studied first. So before you reach 3, we have to study 1 and 2 first. Second is the student must identify a learning time to complete each lesson in accordance with the time allotment in the syllabus. You can take more time if you need to, but still follow the due dates for submission of the activities, the requirements, or the different tests that will be given. After studying the topics in the module and before answering the assigned activities to you, answer all the concept checks that you see in each lesson. This is to test your understanding of the topic and procedure in solving. If you are able to answer all the concept checks correctly, you are ready to solve the assignment for the module. If not, you need to review the module again to see which points you really have missed. If you have properly worked on correcting your mistakes, proceed to the assignment. Write all your solutions neatly in one bond paper only for each activity or requirement or task that will be given, folded lengthwise in the middle. Use the left side of the paper first and then you write downwards. When the left side is full, you can use the right side of your paper. And the next step is to scan or to take a picture of the entire page and then send it through our Google Classroom. Aside from the assignment, you will also be given a quiz after each module. Again, write all your solutions neatly on one bond paper only for each quiz, folded lengthwise in the middle. Use the left side of the paper first, write downwards, and then when the left side is full, you can use the right side of your paper. Enclose all your final answers, and then again, you have to take a picture or you scan again the entire page and submit it again in our Google Classroom. Do not proceed to the next module unless you have finished and submitted all the activities or tasks of the module before the next module. This will make your deliverables more manageable and help avoid stockpiling of your requirements. We will have a class correspondence and consultation using the Google Classroom depending on the time when it is needed. But when it's not really needed, then I will just be giving announcements or reminders through the Google Classroom. Aside from this, you can communicate with me as your facilitator using our Google Classroom, or you can contact me using the FB Messenger, which I'll be giving here in this presentation for any clarifications on the modules or the tasks that will be given to you. Well, the last one will be following instructions. It pays to follow instructions. This will save you and it will also save me a lot of time. It will save all of us not only time, including money and effort. Well, before I end this study guide, let me just remind you that in study guide number 4 and 5, these are the instructions if the requirement or the test or the exam will be problem solving. Of course, when multiple choices will be given or other types of tests will be given, just follow whatever the Google form is telling you. This is just the instruction if I needed a copy or a picture or a scanned page of your solution to be submitted to the Google Classroom. God bless your journey through this distance learning education. So this is our theoretical study schedule, and I hope that we could really follow it. From June 15 to June 17, this will be about Unit 1. It will be about integration using the power formula. June 18 to June 20, this will be Unit 2, trigonometric formulas. June 20 will be the formative and then the summative evaluation. June 22 until June 24 will be about logarithmic and exponential functions. June 25 until June 27, this will be transformation by trigonometric formulas and inverse trigo functions. And then June 27 will be the formative and summative evaluation. June 29 to 30 will be integration by parts. July 1 to July 4 will be integration by substitution. July 4 will be the formative and summative evaluation. This is the time of the midterm examination. July 6 until 8, it will be integration of rational fractions. July 9 until July 11 will be the evaluation of definite integrals, including the Wallis formula. July 11, this will be a formative and then a summative evaluation. July 13 to 15 will be about plane areas. July 16 to July 18, this will be solids of revolution. July 18 will be the evaluations that we'll be having, both formative and summative. July 20 to 23 will still be solids of revolution, but it will be the other method. It will be cylindrical shell, including the centroid of a plane area. July 24 to 25 will be the last topic. It will be about iterated integrals. Well, of course, July 25, this will be our formative and summative evaluation, including the final exam. This will be our last meeting, supposedly, but it will be the scheduled final exam. What is this evaluation guide that we will be having? If we say evaluation guide, the course modules rely on formative and summative assessments to determine the progress of your learning in the modules that we will be having. To obtain a passing grade in this course, well, you must do the following. You study all course materials and answer the concept checks and assignments. Second, you have to submit all the assignments and graded quizzes. You have to take the midterm examination, and of course, the last one, but not the least, you really have to take the final examination. What are these formative assessment activities? Formative assessments for this course are applied to ungraded activities. I repeat, ungraded activities that are used to monitor your learning experience and provide feedback to improve both your learning approach as well as my instructional approach. Take note that you are required to answer all the concept checks and reflection questions in a formative assessment activity or in a formative evaluation. And take note, if we say formative, these activities will not be included in the computation of your grades. The reflection questions are designed to help you to critically analyze the depth of your understanding of the course materials, while the concept checks are designed as a review management tool to prepare you for the graded quizzes and examinations. Successfully answering formative assessments will serve as prompts to tell you if you need to study further or if you may already move forward to the next unit of the module. The completeness of your answers to the formative assessments will still be checked and will still be part of your course completion. In doing your formative assessment activities, you can always ask the help of your family, friends, including your classmates in Google Classroom. Take note, if you do not do the formative test, your grade will be not complete in this term. Now, what about the summative assessment activities? The evaluative assessments are graded. So take note, I repeat, summative assessment activities are graded activities. They are designed to determine if your acquisition of learning and performance in tests is at par with standards set at certain milestones in this course. The quizzes, examinations, and assignments, generally, they are summative assessment activities. They are graded. The scores obtained from each of the graded activities, of course, will contribute to your midterm grade, to your tentative final grade, and to your final grades. The weights of which are presented in the grading system, which actually I included it here in this presentation. What are the technological tools that we needed in this course? To be able to accomplish all the tasks in this course, you will need, of course, a computer or a laptop with some software applications like word processing, presentation, and publication. Alternatively, you can use also a smartphone with the same capabilities for you to download the course materials and submit your requirements online. If you are an online student, you could access easily the Google Classroom. Well, of course, that is what we are doing now. And for the grading system, well, the grading system, to be short, in the midterms, the class standing will be 60% and then the exam is 40%. For the tentative or the temporary final grade, it will be 50-50. The class standing is 50% and then the exam is 50%. So independently, you have an independent midterm grade and an independent tentative final grade or temporary final grade. So how is the final grade computed? The final grade is 50% of the midterm grade plus 50% of the temporary or tentative final grade. Here in this presentation, the course references will also be posted, and these are the references that you could use. You could just easily see it here in this slide. So let me remind you, as your course facilitator, you just again let me remind you about number 8 in the study guide, to follow instructions. It does not necessarily mean that I will be giving you recordings of lectures that I'll be having. It's possible that I'll just be posting a PowerPoint presentation. I could give a link for you to go and read the notes, or I might also give you a link to a certain video, to a certain professor, or to a certain lecturer for that certain topic. And of course, following instructions again, it follows that there are tests that will be given. They may be formative or summative tests or activities. So these are also the contact information of your facilitator, yours truly. You just try to see it here if you needed to contact me anytime. But of course, expect I will not be replying at once. Maybe it will take some time. But if I were able to reply at once, you're lucky. So once again, I welcome you all in our integral calculus class through St. Louis University's Distance Learning Education, Sapientia Aedificat. All hail, Louisians!